Hello, everybody. It is Rebecca Veksler here, the founder of Soul Cups, and we are up to episode 7 of our Plastic Free July Sustainable Speaker Series. I'm super excited today. We will be joined with Ecostore. We will be joined by Bridgette from the Ecostore team. I cannot wait to have this conversation because Ecostore are one of my all-time favorite brands. They focus on sustainable living, environmental friendly ingredients, packaging from a completely holistic perspective. So products that range from personal care, from home cleaning and everything in between. They revolutionized the world of sustainable and sugarcane packaging so that it's completely recyclable, and also revolutionized the ability for us as consumers to be able to purchase a really sustainable and environmentally friendly range of products for almost anywhere, from your supermarkets, from your pharmacies, and everywhere in between. I'm super excited to have Bridgette on. I'm just going to wait for the Ecostore team to pop up into the live, but this one's really special because I actually met the Ecostore team originally in New Zealand while we were doing trade shows for Soul Cups. Something obviously we have not done much of lately, so I'm a little bit nostalgic and it'll be really nice to chat to them today. I'm gonna jump in and get Ecostore in here and then we can begin. Super excited to talk to Bridgette this morning. She should pop in any second. There you are. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay? Is the connection all right?
Yeah, well, thank you. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a delay. Are you all good on your end?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag, but hopefully it balances out soon. So we'll see how we go. Otherwise, I'll find better internet, but we'll see.
I'll talk slowly.
Cool. Yeah.
Firstly, thank you so much for popping on. It's so nice to have you and to get to talk to you this morning. Are you in the Sydney team or are you in New Zealand?
Yeah, so I'm actually in our Victoria team, but I'm based
Melbourne team, Victoria team. Yeah.
Yeah, team, but yeah, based in Sydney at the moment, so working remotely.
So you're in lockdown like us.
Yeah. Yeah, just like you. Hopefully it ends soon. It's not looking good at the moment, is it?
Crazy times, but no, it's super exciting. So I mean, I was just sort of saying, I originally met the team of Ecostore in New Zealand, in Auckland, at the gift shows, which would have been maybe 3 years ago now. And that's sort of, I was already a fan of the brand. I already used Ecostore at home. I already knew you guys so well, but to build that relationship and work next to each other and sort of build that wonderful collaborative relationship is really beautiful. So for those of our viewers that don't know much about Ecostore, can you brief us a little bit, talk to us about the brand, how it started, why it exists, and your mission?
Yeah, sure. So Ecostore is a sustainable home and personal care. We were founded almost 30 years ago now in New Zealand. So by a couple, Mal and Mel, they were living and working in an eco village. They had sort of a trailer, and sort of way back when, Mel and Mel were sort of out in their garden bed one day, and they had noticed that part of the garden bed had started to die. And when Mal sort of went to trace what was causing the garden bed to die, he found that it was actually the runoff of his cleaning products from his trailer. And
Wow.
At that moment, he realized, like, oh my God, there's no brands out there today that are making products that are safe for the environment. And that was really how Ecostore was born. So we're probably the first of our kind back then to create sort of sustainable products that were safe for the environment. Over time, we learned that they were actually really safe for you as well. So people kind of either didn't have eczema anymore or they didn't have asthma anymore. So from that time, we've been sort of safer for the environment and safer for you. And yeah, I guess from then we've grown exponentially. So we're in New Zealand, Australia now. We've got business in Japan, Hong Kong, Korea. So I feel like we've really resonated with people with these products, and we continue to grow, which is awesome.
Isn't that the coolest story though? Like I just think because like I personally knew the story. I've like done the research, and I just fell in love with the simplicity of the background. Like it's just so beautiful, and it really resonates to so many people. And I think that's why I love New Zealand so much as well, because it comes with that mentality of choosing simple, clean lifestyles. Everybody is quite self-sufficient. Everybody has a little garden. Like, I am absolutely in love. So I really want to talk about the packaging. So there's so many things we can sort of go over with the Ecostore, but let's start with the sugarcane packaging, because this, I think, revolutionized the industry. I think you guys set a standard for what is acceptable. And you think about this industry, it's very single use. People buy the product, they throw it in the bin. So talk us through a little bit more about the sugarcane and how it works, and just the backstory.
Yeah, I guess the reason we moved to sugarcane a long time ago, Mal kind of discovered that single-use virgin plastic comes from fossil fuels. So the process of extraction of that plastic puts carbon into the atmosphere. And at that time, he thought it was so horrible. I guess everybody needs sort of everyday products for their household. So be it shampoo, conditioner, laundry liquid, dish liquid. And it's really unfortunate that plastic is probably the most convenient and easiest way to give people these products today, or yeah, still today. So he did a bit of research and discovered at the time that sugar plastic existed. And how that works is, as sugarcane grows, it extracts carbon from the atmosphere, which is a really nice thing. So it's probably the best type of plastic that you can get. And then he makes all of our products sort of transition into that plastic. So we're 100% sugar plastic. I would say times have changed now a little bit. So probably over the last sort of 2 to 3 years, there's been a real movement toward recycled plastic. And again, that's a fantastic thing to use because it creates sort of a closed loop system. So that plastic is not ending up in landfill. It can end up as another bottle. So now we've kind of moved to a sort of a hybrid model where we're about 50% sugar plastic, which we still think is awesome and does the right things from the extraction process. But we're about now 50% recycled plastic, just to make sure that we're doing the right thing in both areas.
And how does that work in terms of recycling? Like, is it quite literally make sure you put it into the recycling bin, or do consumers need to clean the bottles? Is there anything sort of in terms of tips you can give us for that, to make sure it gets the best chance at, going into the right place?
Yeah, great question. So both sugar and recycled plastic can be recycled like any other plastic. But we do have a crisis probably in Australia where about only 15% of plastic is recycled properly. A lot to do with our systems, but also people aren't sorting necessarily recycling properly. So I would just encourage everyone just to make sure that you've sort of put your clean bottles into the recycling bin, and that gives it the best chance to go back into that loop. But there is still a lot of work to be done on recycling. So I would say let's look to other solutions that aren't just using single-use bottles, but also maybe you could refill and reuse your bottles, or maybe we could buy products without plastic altogether. So I think try different avenues if you can.
Absolutely. And I think that sort of leads us to asking about your product range. You have an aspect of your product range that is essentially packaging free. Like you've got the soaps. Can you talk us through a little bit about the evolution of that and why that's so important to your brand and the evolution of the brand as well?
Yeah, sure. I guess for us, so plastic waste is just such a big problem and it requires multiple solutions. So from how we source our plastic that we just covered around recycled and sugar to maybe closing out or not needing new plastic. So refill stations is a big one for us. So we've got over 100 of those in New Zealand, and we've just launched our third in Australia in Coles Fitzroy in Melbourne. And that's a fantastic way to reduce plastic. Yeah.
I think that is
and as well, so when it comes to our products, so you mentioned, I'm sorry.
You go. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's a couple of ways. And then we've got, as you mentioned, our soaps, and there's a lot of innovation coming. So I guess watch this space, but definitely we're trying to take out plastic from our products where we can. So toward the end of this year and early next, there might be a few more things coming from us.
I think that's so special. And I think, so two sort of things I want to say. One is I often and almost every single interview I've done, you know, during Plastic Free July, we talk about conscious consumerism. So the fact that you guys have been able to get the refill station into a place like Coles, where is, you know, that's your everyday public, that's your everyday consumer, whether they're environmentally conscious or not, that is essentially the majority of the general public. They're going to the supermarket. And the fact that you are able to be there and have partnered with Coles and have been able to get those refill stations in, that is so important to me. That is what I want to talk about, because the reality is not everybody cares. Not everybody is going to go out of their way to make the right decisions. But if we put it in front of them and we say, hey, look at me. This is an awesome, simple thing. It requires little effort. It might even save you some money. I think we can make some real change and impact. And it takes a brand like you guys to make that happen. So number one, congratulations on that. Please keep doing it. Please keep pushing and getting them into as many supermarkets as possible. Yeah. And the second thing is, I love what you just said, which is you're evolving. Like, that is success to me. That is what we need in any kind of business. It's the evolution, the growth, and the openness to improve.
Yeah.
I lost you for a minute. I lost Bridgette. I need to get her back on. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's invite Bridgette back in. Let's go. We lost her, and it was such an important topic, but I'm super excited about this chat. Oh, there you are.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I think I last left with you on saying, yeah, congratulations, and make more refill stations happen. Yeah.
Well, basically, the only other thing I wanted to say was the point you made about evolving and watching this space. I'm so glad you said that, because that is what it takes to be successful as a sustainable brand. It means we never stop. It means we're constantly evolving, listening to our consumers, taking on feedback, improving, you know, researching new materials and new options. So that's wonderful. And I'm so excited to hear that you guys are doing that. If you want to share what you're working on, please don't be shy. But if you're not allowed, I understand.
Yeah. I think all I can suggest, it involves reducing plastic altogether. So I think that's definitely the space where we're really looking to innovate. So I think refill stations are an awesome model, but it does require multiple things. So yes. Yeah, taking out plastic. One other thing I wanted to build on, so you mentioned the conscious consumer, and I think that's really important, because I'd say 1 in 3 people now in Australia really actively want to do the right thing. So if we think about supermarkets where solutions don't yet exist, we're missing out on the market where people want these solutions. And we've even seen sales that when we pick the right stores where these people are living and all the rest, we sort of twice the amount of sales that we have. So there's really the business case for it to continue to grow models like this.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that that's what it is, right? Figuring out demographically who wants it, so let's give it to them. And then for those that aren't sure about it or aren't interested in it, or that's not their forefront, like the front of mind, then how can we support the community? How can we educate? How can we inspire? And how can we be a platform for education and inspiration to actually make that change happen? So, I mean, that's why we're having these conversations. That's why I'm interviewing brands like you, so that we can get the word out there in any which way possible, basically, you know. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is the biggest learning from a personal level as well, because you're an individual, you're part of a team, from a personal level and also a brand level, what is sort of like the biggest learning that you guys have experienced during the last few years, especially with COVID and people's mindsets changing?
Yeah, I would say so. From a business perspective, it just that the market is out there. So I feel like being a sustainable brand, it's you've got to do new things that you haven't done before. So sometimes it can be quite hard work to innovate and to sort of stay ahead of the game. But what time. Yeah, exactly. You know too. But every time we do it and we manage to get there, we've got people there waiting for those products and those solutions. So I think the advice would be just to not give up, keep working hard, and you'll keep realizing the reward at the end of the day where consumers are there waiting for products their needs, but we kind of need to sort of help think of them first and create them before they even know they need them. Yeah.
That's beautifully said. And it's so true. I think as a business owner, anyone who has a startup or a brand or a product, like when in doubt, just keep going. I think that's the simplest way to do it. It's like at the end of the day, you have a mission, you have your values, it's for the greater good. There's a reason you get up every morning and work on this brand, on this product, and you know it's to create a better experience for the world around you, to make healthier choices available, more sustainable choices. So yeah, even in the toughest times when you think it's not worth it, it is, because you're making such an impact.
Yeah.
What about on a personal level? Like, how have you experienced making more sustainable like choices in your own life? Like, how has that journey been for you?
Yeah, I guess probably is a similar ethos that I take to work that I have personally. I think it's just always about sort of starting small. I think I'm very conscious of sort of the plastic waste crisis and climate change, and I kind of want to make sure that I do my bit, and I do that with, I guess, the work that I do, but also, yeah, in every day, I think it's about making those small decisions which can amount to something big. So as an example, there's just so many categories. Like, so we've got our coffee cups, our water bottles, our dish liquid, our laundry liquid, everything can be single use today. And even if we just start with one of those, be it our coffee cup or our water bottle, and then maybe take it to our dish liquid or our laundry liquid, that can amount to sort of 30, 40, 50 bottles over a year. And if 15% is getting recycled, you can really reduce that number by only using one quite significantly. So I just feel like small amounts to having a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it better myself. It's the message we keep repeating again and again and again in almost every interview we've had. It's just do one thing, try one thing, start in one place, you know, become an expert in that area, you know, and that's why I created my no cup, no coffee challenge, which is if you have a reusable cup, no coffee. So I ask you, would you like to join us in this challenge? Will you accept it?
Absolutely. Fully on board. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been such a journey, like for the reusable cup world, for example, and cafes not accepting them, or consumers feeling fearful of using them because of the news, when in actuality there's no law that says you can't use a reusable cup during COVID. Like, there's actually no real law that says you can't do it. And there's so many wonderful solutions out there. So, I mean, for you personally, have you experienced any complications? Like, does your local cafe let you use yours?
I'm actually surprised to hear it's not a law, because I kind of thought it was. After now, I've been to maybe 3 or 4 cafes in my local area during COVID, and I always bring my cup because I'm a big advocate for it, and I still try, because I kind of thought maybe some cafe owners would let me. But all of them have pushed me away, or just said I need a single-use coffee cup. And I guess I appreciate with COVID, it is really sensitive, and we're kind of dealing with a lot of uncertainty at the moment. So I just really hope that long term, everyone would revert back to allowing you to use your reusable cup, because it's just the way forward. That's what everybody wants to use, and we want to pay for the coffee, not the cup, you know?
That's right. And I think it sparks that sort of conversation of exactly like you said, you also thought it was a law, but the truth is it's not. Nowhere anywhere in Australia is it legally binding or a legal law that you have to stop using them during COVID or lockdown or in general. So it's some kind of an excuse now. It's become an excuse to essentially be lazy. And I think what we can do as consumers, what you can do as someone who goes to your cafe every day, is have a conversation and not be scared to tell the barista, hey, if I pop my cup on the bench, can you just pour the coffee in? Like, just free pour it. You know, you don't have to touch my cup. I don't need to touch you. You know, like, there's so many wonderful solutions out there. And I think if we can be the catalyst to change and inspiration by having a voice and using it, I think we can, you know, achieve a lot. Just like, you know, like you said, it's just one small thing. You never know what impact it can have. So yeah, it's super interesting to hear that as well. But
I'll definitely be local and tell them otherwise this time.
Yeah, maybe
we will. I think it might even come down to awareness overall. Maybe that they don't know that it's not necessarily a law, but you would just maybe assume that it is. So yeah, I think everyone should challenge that a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. So I guess the sort of last thing I want to touch on before we sort of close off is, if you can leave us with a message, tell us a little bit more about the brand, inspire us a little bit of, you know, how consumers can get access to you. If they have questions, where can they go to ask them about Ecostore? Tell us a little bit more about the products themselves and maybe the ingredients, and just like a little bit of background, and then where we can find you as well.
Yeah, sure. So just to rehash, I guess Ecostore, we're a sustainable home and body care business. So we play in about sort of 8 categories in Australia. So we've got an oral care business, laundry, dish, baby. I'm not going to remember them all, but we play in a lot, so you can probably find something for your everyday needs. And we are sustainable in the sense that we try and use the best packaging that we can. So a combination of recycled and sugar plastic. We've also got 3 refill stations in Australia. So one in Melbourne at Coles Fitzroy, one in Sydney at Coles Chatswood, and another one in Sydney at North Rocks, Flora and Fauna. And we've also got our website, so ecostore.com.au, and that's where you can find all of our products online. And as well, we've got our Instagram account, so Ecostore AU, so you can follow us after this. And then I guess just something I want to leave you all with, I think at the moment we've got a discount on all of our bulk products if you wanted to try refilling at home. But also I'd love to leave a code just for anyone who's listening to this. So plastic free July 20. So you can just pop that in before you check out. You can only use it on products that aren't already discounted, but there's still quite a few on there. So I'd encourage you to use that any time over July. So it expires at the beginning of August. So yeah, I would love for you to follow us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us over Instagram. And you can find more details about us on our website.
Thank you so much, Bridget. That's so generous as well. What an amazing discount. Honestly, guys, if you haven't stalked Ecostore before, jump on their socials. It is one of my favorite brands. Like I said, I fell in love with you guys way before I met the team in New Zealand, but it just revolutionized the way you clean at home. And I think it's so important to keep educating ourselves, learning more, trying new things. So if you can get to a refill station, go do it. Especially the one in Sydney with Flora and Fauna. It is beautiful. It is absolutely such a divine location. So much fun in there too. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me this morning. I'll leave all those details for everyone in the IGTV. So if you missed this conversation, you can come back and watch anytime. Thank you so much, Bridget.
No worries. Thanks, Rebecca. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We'll talk really soon. Bye.